For a decade, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers dug one of the great drainage canals in America. Then they spent the next 20 years and more than $1 billion filling it back in. Same agency, same river, same bulldozers, more or less. First, they spent a decade turning a wild curling 100-mile river into a dead straight ditch. Then, a generation later, they came back and shoveled the dirt they had dug out right back into the hole, undoing their own work on purpose. If you had stood on the bank and watched both projects, you would have sworn somebody had lost their mind. The whole point of the first job was flood control. It worked. The canal did exactly what it was built to do. And then the same organization that built it declared it a disaster and set out to destroy it. They were right both times. That is the strange part. Because the straight canal, the one that worked, had quietly killed almost everything around it. Within a few years of the ditch being finished, 90% of the waterfowl were gone. The bald eagle nesting territories dropped by 70%. A floodplain the size of a small city dried out and died. The river was still there technically, water still moved through it. But as a living system, it was a corpse with a current. And here is the thing that makes this story worth your next 15 minutes. When they finally filled the canal back in, they did not rebuild the river. They could not have. Nobody has a blueprint for 100 miles of wetland. All they did was put the dirt back and get out of the way. The river rebuilt itself. It found its old bends, still faintly pressed into the land after 50 years, and it flowed back into them like it had never left. To understand how a dead river came back on its own, you have to start with why anyone would straighten one in the first place. Start with a cow on the cover of a report. In 1947, two hurricanes tore across central and southern Florida within weeks of each other. The flooding was catastrophic. Water sat on the land for months. Cattle drowned, farms went under, and a government report on the damage ran a photo on its cover of a single cow standing miserable in floodwater up to its belly. That image did its job. Congress authorized a massive flood control project for the whole region, and the Army Corps of Engineers was handed the job of taming Florida's water. One of the targets was the Kissimmee River. Before anyone touched it, the Kissimmee was one of the wildest, slowest rivers in the country. It ran about 103 miles from the lakes near Orlando down to Lake Okeechobee, but it did not run in anything like a straight line. It wandered. It split and rejoined. It looped back on itself in tight curls across a floodplain that was, in places, 2 to 3 miles wide. When the summer rains came, the river did not rush. It spread. Huge sheets of shallow water sat on that floodplain for months at a time. And that slow seasonal flooding was the entire engine of the ecosystem. It was one of the richest wetlands in the Southeast. Something like 39 species of fish, 38 species of water birds, ducks in the winter in numbers that are hard to imagine now, wading birds working the shallows, largemouth bass in the pools, bald eagles overhead. All of it ran on one simple rhythm. The river floods slowly, the floodplain fills, life feeds, the water drains, and it happens again next year. Then, between 1962 and 1971, the Corps took that 100-mile living river and turned it into a ditch. The project was called C-38. They dredged a canal straight down the middle of the floodplain, 56 miles long, 300 feet wide, and 30 feet deep. All those curls and loops of the original river, more than 40 miles of them, got bypassed and left to stagnate off to the side. The dredged up dirt got piled along the banks in long spoil mounds. 6 big water control structures were dropped in along the length of it, chopping the flow into a staircase of still pools. On its own terms, it was a triumph of engineering. The land drained. The floods stopped threatening the ranches. Where there had been swamp, there was now dry pasture you could run cattle on. To the people who built it, C-38 was a success, and by the standard they were measuring, it was. But the moment that canal started carrying water, the rhythm broke. The water no longer spread. It ran. Instead of sheeting slowly across 3 miles of floodplain, it shot down a deep straight channel and was gone. The seasonal flooding that the entire system depended on simply stopped happening. The floodplain, cut off from its own river, dried out. 12 to 14,000 hectares of wetland gone. And once the water stopped spreading, the collapse fed on itself. The dry floodplain meant no shallow feeding grounds, which meant the waiting birds left. The deep, still, fast canal held far less oxygen than the old living river, so the largemouth bass and the native fish that needed clean, moving, oxygen-rich water died back, replaced by a handful of species that could tolerate the murk. No fish and no shallows meant no food for the birds that were left. Within a few years, waterfowl numbers had fallen by more than 90%. Bald eagle nesting territories dropped by 70%. There was one more consequence, and it traveled downstream. That wide, slow floodplain had been doing an invisible job for thousands of years. It filtered the water. As the river spread out and slowed down, sediment and nutrients settled out into the wetlands instead of rushing on. Straighten the river, and that filter switched off. Now the water raced down C-38, carrying its full load of nutrient pollution straight into Lake Okeechobee, and from there into the wider Everglades. The Strait Canal did not just kill the Kissimmee, it started poisoning the water body it drained into. Florida had paid a fortune to turn a living river into a drainage pipe. It got its flood control. It lost almost everything else. Here is what should have happened next and did not. Almost immediately, people saw the damage. Even before the canal was finished, some biologists were warning that this was going to be a catastrophe. And by the 1970s, the alarm was loud. The birds were gone. The fish were gone. Anyone who had known the old river could see exactly what had been lost. The obvious move was to undo it. But you cannot just undo a project like C-38, and the reason is a genuine trap. The canal worked, that was the problem. Real people were now living and farming on land that only stayed dry because the canal drained it. The whole point of the thing had been to stop the floods of 1947 from happening again, and it had. So the second you talk about filling the canal back in, you are talking about giving the floodplain its floods back. And that means water returning to land that people now depended on being dry. You are not just restoring a wetland, you are undraining a region that had spent 30 years building on the assumption that the water was gone for good. So for decades, the Kissimmee sat in a deadlock. Everyone agreed it was an ecological disaster. Almost no one could agree on how to fix it without reflooding somebody's ranch. And the price tag on any real fix was enormous. It was easier to study the problem than to solve it, and study it they did. Through the 70s and 80s, pilot project after pilot project, report after report. What finally broke the deadlock was patience and money and a hard political decision. Through the 1980s and early 90s, the state and federal government started buying the land back. Not seizing it, buying it. More than 100,000 acres of floodplain purchased so that when the water came back, it would be coming back onto public land instead of onto someone's pasture. In 1992, Congress authorized the restoration for real. The plan was not to restore all of it, because some of that Strait Channel still had to stay to protect the areas people lived in. It was to bring back the heart of it. The decision, once it was finally made, was almost absurd in its simplicity. Put the dirt back. Here is the realization the whole thing turns on, and it is the opposite of how we usually think about fixing something big. They did not need to rebuild the river. They needed to stop holding it in a straight line. Think about what a meandering river actually is. We tend to picture the curves as decoration, as scenery, as the pretty version of a river. They are not decoration. Those bends are what a river does to itself when you leave it alone on a flat floodplain. The curving, the splitting, the slowing down, the spilling over the banks in the wet season, all of that is the river's natural behavior, and all of it together is what creates the wetland. The Corps had not just changed the shape of the Kissimmee in the 60s, they had overridden its behavior and locked it into a shape it would never have chosen. So the fix was not to engineer a new river. It was to remove the thing, forcing the old one to stay straight and let the river go back to behaving like a river. And this is where the story gets genuinely remarkable, because the old river was still there. Not the water. The water was long gone from those loops, but the shape. After 50 years of being bypassed and left to stagnate, more than 40 miles of the original meandering channel were still physically etched into that floodplain, curling off to either side of the big straight ditch. The blueprint had never been erased. It was just sitting there, dry and quiet, waiting. So the plan came down to three brutally simple moves: fill in long stretches of the C-38 canal with the same spoiled dirt that had been dug out of it and piled on the banks 50 years earlier. Blow up and remove the water control structures that were holding the flow in its staircase of pools. And then reconnect the old, still present meanders so the water, with nowhere else to go, would flow back into its original channel. That is it. No grand new design, it is the difference between rebuilding a house from scratch and simply unlocking a door that had been chained shut for half a century. The house was still standing. You just had to let people back in. They filled roughly 22 miles of the canal back in. They pushed 9 million cubic meters of earth back into the ditch it came from. And then they turned the water loose and waited to see if a river that had been dead for 50 years still remembered how to be one. It remembered fast. The moment the canal plugs went in and the structures came out, the water did exactly what water does. It found the low ground. It slid off the artificial straightaway and poured back into the old meanders. And for the first time since the 1960s, the Kissimmee started to curl across its floodplain again. Once it was moving through those bends, everything the straight canal had switched off started switching back on. The floods came back first. Not disaster floods. The good kind, the seasonal kind, the slow spreading of water across the floodplain in the wet season that the whole system had been built around. Water climbed out of the channel and sat on the land again, and land that had been dry cattle pasture for a generation went back to being marsh. The physical river started healing itself in ways nobody had to engineer. As the water slowed down and spread out, the muck and the choking weeds that had built up in the dead pools got flushed away. Sandbars, real clean river sandbars, reappeared. Dissolved oxygen in the water climbed because moving water breathes and still water suffocates. Dormant wetland plants that had been waiting in the soil for 50 years, smartweed and arrowhead and pickerel weed and the rest, came back on their own the moment the ground was wet again. Nobody planted most of it. The seeds had been there the whole time, and the animals followed the water, in that order, the way they always do. First the plants and the bugs, then the fish. The largemouth bass, the sunfish, the native species that need clean, oxygen-rich water, moved back into a river that could finally hold them. Then the birds came for the fish, wading birds, white ibis, black-necked stilts, working the shallows again. Ducks and waterfowl returning to a flood plain that was wet for the first time in 50 years. Within just a few years of the water coming back, wildlife had returned in numbers that genuinely surprised the scientists monitoring it. The physical restoration was finished in 2021. It had taken more than 20 years of construction and cost well over $1 billion, which makes it one of the most expensive river restorations ever attempted anywhere on Earth. Somewhere around 40 square miles of floodplain wetland rehydrated. More than 40 miles of meandering river channel reconnected and flowing. Most of the biological goals the scientists had set were met, some of them ahead of schedule. And that invisible downstream job, the filtering, switched back on too. With the floodplain rehydrated and the water slowed down again, the wetlands went back to catching sediment and nutrients before they could reach Lake Okeechobee. Researchers now think the restored Kissimmee is already helping limit the toxic algae blooms downstream. Not solving them, the problem is bigger than one river, but helping. The filter is running again. I want to be honest about one thing, because this channel does not do fairy tales. They did not restore all of it. Parts of that straight canal had to stay permanently, because real people still live and farm on land that needs the flood protection. The Kissimmee that exists today is a compromise, a living river threaded through a landscape that still has to keep humans dry. But the heart of it, the wild curling heart that everyone thought was gone forever, is back and it is alive. Step back and look at the whole shape of it. An agency spent a decade and a fortune straightening a river, and it worked. And the working is what killed it. Then the same agency spent 2 decades and a much larger fortune putting the dirt back. And the river they had pronounced dead simply stood up and walked because the thing they had spent all that money and effort building was never a river at all. It was a cage. And when you finally take a cage off something, you do not have to teach it how to be free. It already knows. That is the piece worth holding on to. Nobody rebuilt the Kissimmee. There is no engineer alive who could design 100 miles of functioning wetland from a blank sheet, with every fish and bird and plant and flood cycle in its right place. It is too complex. It has too many moving parts. But nobody needed to because the river already knew how to be a river. The floodplain already held the seeds, the birds still had the root, and the old channel was still pressed into the land after half a century waiting for permission. All the $1 billion really bought was the removal of a mistake. We break these systems by forcing them into shapes they would never choose, and we tell ourselves it is control. And then we are shocked every time at how fast they come back the moment we stop forcing them. The Kissimmee did not need to be saved, it needed to be unstraightened. It needed the dirt put back and the structures pulled out and one wet season of being left alone. Sometimes the most powerful thing an engineer can build is nothing at all. Sometimes it is just the humility to dig up your own straight line and let the curve come back. Subscribe and watch the world come back to life.